How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Flagstaff High School International Thespian Society Troop 6910 podcast. My name's Dermot. I'm the president of International Thespian Society Troop 6910, and I am also the host of this podcast. I hope that you've had a good week, or at least a reasonable week, what with us getting into our whole school online, seeing how that's going to be working, what with having to be doing our social distancing, our self-isolation, our self-quarantining. I hope you all are doing well, and I hope that y'all are staying theatrical. First thing that I want to talk about this week is a thing that the Flagstaff Arts Council is putting on. It is called #CreativeFlagstaff, and I'll go ahead and just read you their announcement about it. #CreativeFlagstaff is a new social media campaign presented by the Flagstaff Arts Council. We are asking our community to engage in creative projects while we practice social distancing. Each week, we will feature creativity prompts from Flagstaff artists and makers on our social media platforms to help inspire you to create. Post your creative projects with #CreativeFlagstaff to share within our community. So the biggest thing for that is we're, as Flagstaff High School, us and as the Drama Club and as Thespian Society, very much encouraging you to participate in that. Essentially, all that means is that the Flagstaff Arts Council, which is the biggest arts thing in town, it's the big kind of collaborative organization between all of the groups of artists, theater artists, visual artists, music artists in town. It's a big collaboration between all of them. And essentially what that means is that they're asking us to continue to create, continue to make art. And so what you're going to want to do is, if you're going to make a creative thing, post that on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, you're going to want to #CreativeFlagstaff, just the word creative, the word Flagstaff. And if you're on Instagram, go ahead and tag @Flag Eagle Arts, FLAGEAGLEARTS, and @Flagstaff Arts, just Flagstaff and Arts, because that is us as Flagstaff, the Flagstaff High School Performing Arts, and that's the Flagstaff Arts Council. And once you're tagging them, once you're tagging us, then we can share your posts, we can make sure that the community's seeing the fantastic work that the Flagstaff High School community is doing. Other things to keep watch for, those live streams I was talking about last week, those are continuing to happen. We're going to keep having those probably for as long as this thing's going on. So that's definitely a thing that you should check out. One thing that I've really enjoyed is Sir Patrick Stewart is posting on his Instagram page a Shakespeare sonnet a day. So every day he's posting himself reading a sonnet by the one and only William Shakespeare, which has been fantastic, and I've really enjoyed personally. A couple of other just creative things that you can start doing. One thing that I've been doing, and one thing that I think you might appreciate, is I've been doing a little bit more journaling recently, and one of the ways I've been doing that is I've been just looking up journaling prompts online, get me to kind of have some more writing, creative juices flowing. In terms of acting, I've been reading scripts, and that's pretty much the way we do it. I've gotten back out some old scripts, I've read through those, I've been working through the songs that I have in Rent, working through getting some harmony parts down. That's definitely a thing. If you're in Rent, continue practicing. Continue looking at your songs, keep making sure that you're knowing everything so that we can keep going with that as soon as we're able. This whole thing is difficult, and that's just how it is. So I think one of the other big things that I can suggest is reaching out to people. I know one of the best things this whole quarantine has been talking to people, and talking to my friends in the Drama Club, talking to my friends in the Thespian Society, talking to just people who I know in the arts community. We're a big accepting community here in Flagstaff, and so make sure that you're talking to people. That would be my biggest piece of advice right now, is make sure you're doing that. But now let's go ahead and hear from a recurring segment we have here on this show, from the director's chair. And so our fearless director, Mr. Shane Smith, has a couple words he wants to say. Let's go ahead and give him the floor.
Hi, again, this is Shane Smith, the Director of Theater Arts at Flagstaff High School. I just want to first of all thank Dermot Lushart, our main host here for the podcast, for all of his hard work on this project. We're getting more of our thespian students and our drama club students involved in this project. Thank you so much for all the support. This went really big on Facebook, really fast, so we're super thankful for that. The purpose of this podcast is primarily to just get my students out in their community and recognizing the resources that go beyond my classroom. Usually during the school year, we are just trying to survive. We're going production to fundraiser, to auditions, to outreach programs, to advertising, and all on top of this, these kids are doing their academics as well. So a lot of this community theater that happens in town, which is extremely vibrant and present, we don't get a touch on because it's just, we already have a laundry list a mile long of things to do. So this is a great opportunity for that, and that is the purpose of this podcast. Your support allows us to branch out in the community. Secondly, I do want to talk about some projects that are coming up for our drama club here at Flagstaff High School. A couple months ago, I guess it was just a month ago, the Diary of Anne Frank showed at Flagstaff High School under the production of our advanced acting group. The production was something we have never tackled before, and it was theater in the round, and it was theater in the round that was specifically really alternative staging. We had 50 people in the audience, and when I mean in the audience, I mean the audience was actually up on stage with the actors. They were cramped, they were uncomfortable, and once they were seated, they were stuck. There was no really shimmying your way out to go to the bathroom. There was no being able to move up, have any leg room in the audience. You were elbow to elbow to people in that audience. And the specific way that I wanted to stage that show was to make the audience feel cramped, feel trapped, feel completely uncomfortable, and really tune in with exactly what the Frank family was feeling when they were in hiding. So, on our Flagstaff High School Performing Arts page, we are going to be posting the full production of the Diary of Anne Frank put on by that advanced acting group. My challenge to you and to my students, any community members or my students can comment, I want you to watch the production, and I want you to find the things that are similar in today's quarantine that were similar in hiding. I don't want to desensitize the idea of the hiding that the Jewish people had to go into during the Holocaust. This is, of course, not at the level of people hiding during the Holocaust. However, there are some parallels that I really want people to feel, because this is a small fraction of the anxiety that that community went through, those Jewish people went through when they were in hiding. We have been roughly in our stay-at-home initiative for about a week and a half to 2 weeks. The Anne Frank family was in hiding for 2 years. So to put that into perspective is really has a lot of potential to be an artistic learning process. So stay tuned and look at the Flag High Performing Arts page each day to see when that gets posted, and please comment on those parallels. We want to hear what your thoughts are. We want to celebrate the actors that put on such a tough show, and we really want people to think about what exactly their quarantine is in comparison to the hiding of the Anne Frank family. Last but not least, I do want to talk specifically to my students. Again, students, I miss you. I love you dearly. I really want to be back with you as soon as I possibly can. I know this is tough. Stay theatrical. If you haven't already, please make sure that you're looking at the Google Classroom for your specific class. I've been posting resources on there that are able to keep your quarantine a little bit more theatrical. I've also been taking pictures of my dog and putting her up there. She is in a cone, and it is so sad. She's in the cone of shame, but it is quite funny to view those pictures. So pray for Rory. Thank you so much again to the Flagstaff High School Administration, FUSD, for keeping us so well informed and really making sure that all of us are safe and healthy during this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, for that announcement and that little, it's good to hear from you every week. So, but for me here, I definitely think that it's good to practice what I preach, if you know what I mean. And this week I've been talking quite a bit about making sure that you're creating art for Flagstaff Create. So I figured I would go ahead and start that conversation right here. I have a monologue that I am going to perform. It's from a play called Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead by the playwright Tom Stoppard. And so I figured this would be, I think it really kind of is a reflection on a lot of the things that we as actors are going through during this time. So I figured this would be my contribution, at least at the beginning, for this. So here's that monologue for you. We're actors. We pledged our identities, secure in the conventions of our trade, that someone would be watching. And then, gradually, no one was. We were caught high and dry. It wasn't until the murderer's long soliloquy that we were able to look around. We were frozen in the profile, and our eyes searched you out, first confidently, then hesitantly, and then desperately, as each patch of turf, each log, each exposed corner in every direction proved uninhabited, and all the while the murderous king addressed the horizon with his dreary, interminable guilt. Our heads began to move, wary as lizards, and the corpse of unsullied Rosalinda peeped through his fingers, and the king faltered. Even then, a habit and a stubborn trust that our audience spied upon us from behind the nearest bush forced our bodies to blunder on long after they had emptied of meaning, until, like runaway carts, they dragged to a halt. No one came forward. No one shouted at us. The silence was unbreakable. It imposed itself upon us. It was obscene. We took off our crowns and swords and cloth of gold and moved silent on the road to Elsinore. So that is the player's monologue from Tom Stoppard's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. I'll also be posting that on my Instagram account, and I will be making sure that it gets sent out with the tag #CreativeFlagstaff. So make sure that you follow me in that and go ahead and post those so that we can see them. And I look forward to speaking at you next week. But until then, good night. Good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow.